Oh, hello there.
Oh,
You see these two bearded gentlemen on the screen? That must mean it is Tuesday, 1 p.m. Eastern on the Dr. Nick's Amazing Man Stuff YouTube channel. And specifically, let me verify. Yes, this is the Doctor's Orders live stream, episode 98. 98 in a row. Woo! And today we are going to talk about, at least for a portion of the stream, we're going to talk about beard growth and the things that we do to aid in our beard growth, the things that you guys do to aid in beard growth, and just general discussion and questions on a topic that's relevant or at least interesting to all of us. So get your thoughts ready, get your questions ready, and I would like to introduce these two follicle gentlemen on the screen, myself included. My name is Dan C. Bearded, not dancing bearded like the captions say sometimes when I speak, but Dan C. Bearded, and I'm the co-host of this show. I'm a content creator, and what I do here is just simply try to show all aspects of this company and the people behind it, whether it's the products, whether it's the process, whether it's the people. We love to give as much information as possible. If that sounds good to you guys, with a few tangents and positive vibes thrown in there, consider hitting the thumbs up or checking to see if you haven't already. And if you want to share this out with any friends, I think they'll have a good time. Maybe it'll give a little boost to their day. And we genuinely believe in the replay value of this live stream. I've listened to it many times myself, podcast style. We hope that you guys have done the same when you're not able to make this little lunchtime break in your day. And I'm not the only one on this show here. We have the founder. We have the man himself, the guy that's going to drop some knowledge today, the man that dabbles in a little bit of everything. If you got tech problems, he probably knows a little something. If your generator can't get going, he probably knows a little something. If you need your car operated on, he probably knows it. What about world travel? He's got you covered. What about tattoos? He's got you covered. What about rock music? Done. What about even a little bit of rap? He'll dabble with. Absolutely. However, if you need to learn how to get incredibly tan and have just a pigment-filled skin, sorry, he can't. No, he can't help you there. There's no help on that one.
Just adjusting the temp of my light. God.
Yeah, he has to be careful on lighting.
I'm doing it again.
That wasn't even a plan to turn, but the man that we're speaking on, rocking his honeymoon cap, his honeymoon hat. Jill, I did notice that, by the way. Shout out to Mr. Dr. Nick, a.k.a. Nick Phelps himself. How you doing, sir?
Oh, stop it. You know, I'm doing fantastic, despite trying to Monday super hard yesterday, you know?
Yeah.
But now today, everything's coming up Millhouse. Everything's working out real well. You know, and I'll preface, or I'll append to your wonderfully generous intro. I'll remind everybody watching: if you're good at doing something, never do it for free. That's all. You know, little advice from the Joker. You know, it's just it's a valid thing to keep in mind.
Man, that hits. We haven't even talked, and that hits on a different level. I'll mention after the stream to you. Don't let me forget. That's so freaky once again. That's crazy, Nick. That's crazy. There was you bad man right there. That's so crazy right now. Okay.
So,
but
you know, hey, we were just watching The Dark Knight last night. There was 2 of them that came out of that. If you're good at doing something, never do it for free. And I looked at Jack and I was like, remember that.
Dude.
And then there was another one that he said when he dropped a piece of knowledge where he was like, he said, either have the courage to die a hero, or be prepared to watch yourself become a villain.
Yeah. And that hits too.
I like that.
Dude, that hits too. Holy crap. That's really, really freaky. You just said The Dark Knight. As I was getting ready for the stream, so when people, to give you guys a concept of like a process here, I come into the studio, I have to turn the overhead lights off. I have a light here. I have a light here. There's a little pin light back here. There's a light up here. I have to get my camera on. I've got to get my audio board on. I've got to get my video switcher on. I got to get the laptop on, the mics in and everything. There's a whole process. So I usually listen to something. I wasn't into each their own. I was listening to the Joe Rogan new podcast with Sam Talent, who's actually a buddy of mine. It's the second time on Joe Rogan. He lives in St. Clair Shores, Michigan, which is about half an hour from me. And we talk pretty much on a daily basis. Really cool to see somebody I know kind of blowing up and doing great things. I have this rate. I did not touch it. It is at the 41st minute. If anybody wants to go fact check me, they just within the last 2 or 3 minutes talked about The Dark Knight and talked about Joker and talked about like the acting in it and talked about lessons from it and how riots started after that and all this crazy stuff. That's right here, man. Like right now. That was before I started this stream, like literally up on my phone.
Dude, I'm telling you, there's I think it's one of those things like, you know, we work together so damn much and we're going back and forth so much. I swear it's like we put things in each other's head without even knowing it.
We do not have menstrual cycles, but something synced with us.
Yeah, it must be the beard cycle. It's our, you know what it is? It's our beard growth cycle that our pituitary gland kicks out when we're sleeping at night if we're properly hydrated and have the right minerals and vitamins inside of us. It's almost like we're going to talk about that.
Right.
You know, and you know, here we are.
Yeah. Men that grow together, sync together, something along those lines. So we're going to get into all of that. And of course, guys, we cannot welcome the stream, this company without showing some love to the beautiful Jill. She, if you guys are unaware or coming in the future, this is Nick's wife. This is the person behind the scenes that's formulating scents, that's developing new products, that's testing things, that is tirelessly working, that is adamant about getting stuff done. Just an absolute beast of a small business owner. Shout out to Jill.
Jill is, everyone just kind of, let's just get.
Yep, absolutely. And Phil has a quick question to start. And guys, this stream is for you guys too. If you have unrelated questions, drop them at any time. We'll do our best to get to them. Might not be immediately, but I do have the ability to star questions and come back to them. And so Phil says, I know there's a problem with labels. Is the unscented hair stuff coming back soon?
Yes. Yeah. So we're getting there. I have to, we basically, we kind of forward stocked some of the other scents. So what we're doing now is beefing back up raw materials in that space for those, you know, for those products. And we're, I don't know, we're probably looking at, we're going to be in Tennessee next week. So probably the week after next, we should see that stuff probably ready to roll.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Going to visit your mom?
We are. It's her birthday on the 25th. So we're kind of figuring out based on a couple of things that we're still up in the air, whether we're kind of coming a few days before that and taking off right after, or if we're coming out right before that and taking off a few days after that. So we're kind of weighing our options back and forth. But Jill and I have, since we're bringing our dog, he's my mom's favorite grand dog. And I'm not sure we're allowed to show up without him, so long as we appropriately take care of keeping him separated from the cats. So we'll give the cat some house time. We'll put up a gate. We'll give him some in the house time, and then we'll you know, he'll go back up to the guest house at nighttime, and the cats can be out. It's like a coordination process.
That's beautiful. Beautiful.
We're driving down. We're probably going to drive straight through and not kill an extra night at a hotel. So I'll drive, then Jill will drive, and so on.
How many hours?
It's not that bad. It's 13.
Oh, yeah, that's cake. Yeah, well, you got that. Yeah, nothing. Yeah. Get up early. That's always my trick on long ride days is get up at like 3 or 4 and go. And then it just seems like you get those, I call them like free hours. When it's like night and nobody's out, you get to drive a good 3 or 4 hours before anybody's awake. It's like those don't even count.
Oh, dude. And what really, I think, the hours that screw me up is if I have the 3 to 7 a.m. at the very end of the drive, because for some reason, like the circadian rhythm thing kicks in with like the sun coming up and I'm like, hey, I'm getting tired. So it's like, I would rather do that. I'd rather get up at like 3, hit the road. And if it's a 13-hour driving time, so consider, you know,
an hour.
We have a dog and a kid and Jill, who needs to pee, you know, as soon as you get on the highway. It is basically like, I don't know. I figure like, honestly, probably like 3 hours worth of
Dang.
stops. Maybe 2. Maybe we'll keep it
Okay.
to like 2 hours, like
That
quick
sounds
fast
reasonable.
food, back on the road kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you were looking at 16 hours. It's not that bad. We leave at
Yeah.
3 in the morning.
Get there at dinner.
We're gonna be there by dinner time.
Yeah. And Jill says 3 a.m. is nighttime, not daytime. I agree. You can sleep away. Sam does. Get comfy. Nick's got you. He's got you
Get in
covered.
the car, fall back asleep, and then by the time you're all awake, boom,
right there.
I'm gonna be, right there and very tired of driving, and you get to wake up, have some coffee, and start driving.
Julie, we've been talking about you, and Nick is very excited for the trip and to bring your favorite grand dog to you. And so
That's right.
excited and happy early birthday coming
Oh,
on
man.
up.
Oh man,
That's awesome. And then Nick, I touched on it briefly, but a little background. People are noticing the hat. What's the story behind the hat?
This hat came from a tattoo artist in Costa Rica. And he was a super cool dude. On top of being a really cool, kind of just really unique tattoo artist, he also does a lot of really cool like mural work, and he does like these cool kind of abstract paintings, sort of like this, but on like wood. Really cool guy. And so he had a few things there that were I couldn't leave without him, and one of them was this hat. So it's a one-off. It's hand painted. It wasn't like he drew it and then got it printed. You can kind of see like the paint texture on it still. It's almost like he used spray paint on some of it, so it's like a little bit of a scratchy spray paint texture. And he even sprayed like the bill and put like a alligator skin kind of pattern on it.
That's so wild.
Yeah, he does some really cool stuff. And
Did you ever get, because you ordered or you bought something down there that was like very large, and I think it may have been from that artist. Did you ever get that?
So we couldn't figure out creating it. He couldn't find anyone locally that was willing to come, like, because it would need to get packed in like an actual, like a crate, but it would need to be a custom made one. It'd need to have like kind of some strapping inside of it where it sandwiches it inside. And then it would have been a pretty elaborate, international shipping operation. And it got up to be about between freight fees and then someone that was willing to come out and pack it, just transporting it was getting close to like $2,000. So I was like, I don't know, I can't do it.
Yeah, that's a bit hot.
I couldn't justify it. I'm like, I'll wait until I have my house in Costa Rica and I can just get him to deliver one in his truck,
Yeah, our village. Remember, we're going together and making a school
well, our
and all that.
compound. Let's call it what it is.
Yep.
Right. We're going to call it, I think a really good name for it too. And this is very selfless of me because it focuses really on you. I think it's got to be Commandistan.
Ooh.
I think Commandistan, it's going to be a little sovereign nation inside of Costa Rica. And we'll just, we'll have a nice security detail. And when everyone's financial systems collapse someday, we're going to be, just fine because we're going to have lots of mangoes. We're good.
I like that. Do you know the suffix stan? Do you know what that means?
What?
Land of.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just kind of going like Afghanistan because my friend, my business partner down in Florida, Tom Beckman, he's looking at a small island off the shore of Tahiti and he's going to call it Beckmanistan. So I just figured, your name worked really well with that too.
That does work very, very well. And guys, if you haven't, make sure you check out the Dr. Nick's Amazing Man Stuff Instagram. JB says, got a Dr. Nick's delivery today. It's up on our Instagram right there. You check that bad boy out and see all the details. And I'll drop a little link in the chat here in case anybody's not following Dr. Nick's on Instagram. A lot of great content that they're proud of. They give you updates on things. Here's the beautiful Jill. Updates on things such as right now, Christmas in July. And before we hit the beard growth, Nick, is there any news anybody should know about? And I'm not even leading here. I don't know if there is anything with Christmas in July. Any updates? How's it going? Thoughts so far?
I mean, it's going great. Everyone's super stoked on it. We've even gotten some messages from people that were like, holy crap. I became a Dr. Nick's customer right after Christmas in July last year. So I had to wait until December. And I didn't buy enough before it was out of stock. And I'm so glad it's back. And you know what I mean? It's been like really, really, really good feedback. People are stoked that it's here. We're having a good time, obviously, just talking to people about it. I'm having a good time using it myself, which has been fantastic. All good. Glad we did it. Gonna do it again next year. And we hope to even expand it. So I think it's going really, really well.
Leo, as a history buff myself, I did not know this unless I got to shake off some cobwebs. He said, talking about the hideaways from Collapse reminds me of the story of a man who anticipated World War II, moved to a remote Pacific island, Guadalcanal. I did not know that.
Huh.
Interesting. Huh.
Wow.
All right. There's some wild ones. I know, and this is what we do, guys. We just go on tangents on whatever's interesting to us. There was just recently a guy and his son came out of the jungle. I want to say, and I may be getting my details wrong here, but the premise of it's correct. Out of the jungle of Vietnam, where when the Vietnam War started, he took his son and just went into the woods, went into the jungle, and completely lived off grid.
How many years were they there?
A long time. I'll have to see if I can find something. And when the son came out, it was his first time ever seeing like females in the world. Like he had no concept of other humans.
Holy crap.
Yeah. And it's like, it was probably last year.
Whoa, talk about a readjustment process. It's not even a readjustment process. Right. That's like an adjustment process.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. It's man, pretty crazy. I believe they came out of the jungle after 40 years. 40 years here. From leaving Vietnam War, they hid in the jungle. This is real. This is like actually happened. 40 years.
And so why the 40 years though? Like they had to have like a thing where they were like, like when there's lightning and you count how many seconds it is until thunder. I would imagine there's some like, process that you would go through in your head to rationalize like, all right, if it goes this long without hearing a bomb go off, I think we're safe to go back.
Yeah.
And they were like, how long is that going to be?
And they did
months.
It. Yeah, they did it because
we're going to do 1,200 days is what we're going to do. 1,200 days, and we should be good.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And they did it because a bomb did strike and killed family members. They were living this whole time 20 feet up in a tree house.
Wow.
In a tree house. I mean, this is absolutely just, and they had to like kind of like try to encourage them out there. 40 years.
They had to like
after.
coax them out.
Yeah. Yep. So
whoa.
That's, speaking of like the crazy ones, that one has always stuck with me. It was just within the last couple of years that they came out, and I'm just like, man, oh man. So, that's got to be a what the heck is this world? 40 years ago looked a lot different than now.
That's 14,600 days.
Wow. And the kid is 42. He went in when he was 2 years old.
Oh, dude, just go back to the jungle, bro.
Right.
Just go. Like, there's, you know what? There's not going to be much for you in this world. Sad to say. Well, actually, no, you're going to get a Netflix special. Like,
there's no doubt.
So you're definitely like, Zack Efron is going to be out there like any minute. He's going to have his whole crew of people with him, and you're definitely going to get a Netflix special. But if you're not interested in that, just go back to the woods.
Yeah, that's full blown Tarzan. Like, I mean, that's wild.
He had Jumanji.
Yeah.
He got sucked up by a board game
for real for 40 years.
Someone finally just rolled the right die and moved the right character, and then boom, there he is with Robin Williams. He didn't really die either. He was in the woods in Vietnam. Still there. And Jill, I'm going to need you to stop talking about Zac Efron so much. It's infiltrated Nick's brain. And so you got to ease on those eyes a little bit, Jill. Yeah. Some obsessions are healthy.
Yeah. Beard care, for example, releasing oxytocin, whole deal there. Mm-hmm. And speaking of beard care, I guess we'll transition into our topic today. And essentially, we want to talk about the everlasting, will never go away question of beard growth and improving beard growth. Because if you want to do something, a lot of us want to do it to our best abilities. Yep. And let's say it's growing a beard, whether it's healthy, whether it is growth rate, whether it's appearance, we want to do the best we can. Even if you have a great beard, even if you have great growth, it's not a bad process to try and always improve, to try and always have the healthiest beard. Because people say to me, like, Dan, you kind of keep it around the same length for the most part. Why do you care about growth rate? Because the faster my beard is growing, generally speaking, the healthier my beard is. So if it means I have to trim more, for me, it's a good problem because that means more content. And so there's a lot of benefits in this. And we just want to cover some basic beard growth properties, but then even go into some more fringe stuff that maybe isn't talked about all the time, maybe isn't even universally agreed on, but things we've observed personally, and kind of go from there. And so to kind of begin, the biggest concept of this discussion, you guys, the biggest concept of this discussion is the healthier you are, the healthier your beard is going to be, and the better your beard growth will be. You all have some peak potential with your genetics.
Yep.
None of us ever reach them. Maybe the person in the jungle, that's very possible, but none of us ever reach them because of oftentimes aspects that are out of our control, such as pollution, such as many aspects of water and food. Even when you're the cleanest of the clean, there's still going to be some imperfect situations that happen.
Oh, yeah.
But we can roll the die. We can do what we need to get the cards stacked in our best favor to try and reach that potential. So everybody's different. What works for someone's body is different for someone else. Try to be as healthy as you can with food, water, exercise, and mental health. All of those have massive, the biggest impacts on your beard. All the stuff we're going to talk about today can really help, but you need to try and be as healthy as you can. Drink enough water, stay hydrated. And it's not even just drink enough water, right? Make sure you have your electrolytes balanced. Make sure you are eating the proper foods. Make sure you're getting protein in the best way for your body. And we're not going to have a debate on like, what's this best for this and that. Whatever you think is the best for you, try to lower your stress. Now, that's a monumental task in the modern world, but try to lower your stress. Try to be active. Try to have all the healthy hormones released that you possibly can. That's the biggest aspect of beard care. Oftentimes when people are frustrated, they're chugging Monsters all day. They're going to McDonald's because life is tough and it's cheaper to go to McDonald's. It's much faster and they don't have time to cook and all of those are going to be the biggest factors. All right. So we got that said, but beyond that, there are things that you can add to your already existing daily life, whether it's
nuances.
I like that. Nuances that can move the needle and help you out. And I'll start with one, then kick it to Nick. Probably the most prominent one for talking about growth rate that most people know is biotin. Now, biotin is just simply vitamin B7. And what that does is we all have a level of biotin that we need to survive. If you are entirely biotin deficient, you might be able to survive, but you're going to have a rough life.
You'll notice it.
Yeah, you're going to need B7 in your life. Now, the barrier of getting enough, if you were to look at like multivitamins, is a very low number as compared to optimal peak keratin production. Now, what biotin does is it's going to help your keratin production increase its rate. Now, I say keratin production because you can't target your beard. You don't get to put in that B7 and say, beep, 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 boom, right there. Not yet, at least. I would imagine that's coming soon. But you don't get to target the beard. All keratin is likely going to increase its growth rate. You'll likely first notice it with your nails, where you got to cut them more often. And then you might notice it with like your back hair. You might notice it with your sideburns and your head hair. If it's working somewhere, it's going to work everywhere. And when I say everywhere, I mean everywhere. So be prepared for hair in places you didn't know was growing. Be prepared for hair in places growing faster that you didn't want it to grow. But it's likely going to help your beard a lot. And the last thing on biotin, quality actually matters. When you said earlier, I mean, I could go on a full riff about if you're good at something, don't do it for free. It's the same kind of concept with quality matters. When I started biotin, I went to Rite Aid. There was a buy one, get one free, and it was like $10. And so I had like 2 months worth of biotin for $10. And I was like, woo, this is crap. There's no results. My nails aren't changing. Nothing's changing. And then I tried my first actual real biotin. whoa, did I notice an actual difference?
What brand did you like there?
So this one, the first one that I actually used was Beard Octane. And the main difference is they work hand in hand with a small local manufacturer. And what's the difference? You know you're not getting fillers. You know you're not getting something that's sitting in a shipping container for weeks and weeks and weeks, and they actually care about what they're doing. And I think that's lost on the concept of like big box retail and garbage stuff as compared to smaller ones. People will say, oh, it's all the same thing. I don't know. Care matters. Like when people actually care about what they're doing, it makes a big difference.
Yep.
And so when I used the first real, and I've had success with many others since then, I was like, whoa. And then I start to hear other things that people will say, such as, we'll talk a little bit about heat today. People say heat doesn't work. It just does this and that. And it's like, I have to be polite, but I hope everybody remembers that there is user error and there's levels of user intelligence as well. You can use heat in a very bad way. You can use a very cheap heating device, whether it's a beard straightener or a blow dryer.
Hot spots that get up to like 700.
That matters. So when people give like blanket feedback, this doesn't work, that doesn't work, quality matters. If someone's like, biotin doesn't work, it didn't do anything for me, not to be like bashful, but was it the Wally World special? Because you might actually be right that didn't work for you, but quality does matter. And so it's layered, but biotin's a good, easy way to start if you want to increase that growth rate. And it really can make a difference.
And it was even with a company that I thought was a decent one because other supplements from them are okay. Like Now, right? Like the, kind of just generic Amazon brand of, biotin.
Yep.
I'd equate that probably to the same thing that you bought at Rite Aid. Like it's Chinese manufactured,
same pool.
Garbage. And what I have learned, the stuff that you can buy in China to synthesize and what you'd buy as a raw material for B7 is typically had already been sitting in a gigantic 50-gallon drum for like 2 to 3 years before they actually capsule it, because they make so much huge amounts of it.
Yep.
So those bottles, $6, maybe $10, and you got to take like 4 of them. And
right.
Then there's other ones, right? Like I found a brand I really like. Not worried about saying the name. It's by Thorn. So Thorn
we have Thorn. That's what I use for creatine and what I use for a bunch of other stuff.
Yep. So Thorn they make everything in the US, and the stuff that you buy in the US for these supplements, you're actually not allowed to sell them on Amazon as a US company if you buy your raw materials from a Chinese manufacturer. It's like supplements as a whole, you can't be a US repackager on like Amazon. You got to be a US based and US sourced product in order to say that your origin is USA. And Thorn falls into that category, but one bottle is $25. It's like 3 or 4 times the price of what you might find. But I can tell you it's the difference of doing nothing and potentially doing something beneficial.
That could be an entire stream in the lessons I've learned on that. And we could go through the quotes, right? Buy nice or cry twice, the whole deal there. I used to be obsessed with like cheap fast fashion, right? If you guys remember Aeropostale, I remember it being like, why in the world?
Is that how you say that?
I don't know. That's how I say it.
I thought it was Aeropostale.
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. I've always
said be really wrong. Like I might be saying it wrong.
I
like
might
how
be
you're
wrong.
Supposed to say Adidas instead of Adidas.
right.
And you get corrected, and I'm like, I'm not saying that.
And
or
that's and sometimes I'm like, no, I'm gonna Americanize it. And I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'm
like,
going with
not Akai, it's acai. And I'm like, nope, not saying that either.
Nope. It's
totally
fine.
I'm gonna keep on saying it wrong.
But I used to buy these shirts. And I'm like, why would I go buy a $30 shirt when I can buy 3 of them for $30? Because the first time you wash them, they're entirely ruined. And if that other one that I have, like I have shirts, my like Nike Polo ones that I used to wear for work, I've had for, this is not an exaggeration, 15 years, and they're still in my rotation every single week. And it was like, they were a little bit more, but they've still lasted. That's the whole thing there. It's like, people are so drawn to budget, so drawn to like the lowest cost possible. And it's like, listen, you're so worried about wasting money. You are wasting money. When you spend
Dude.
$10 on that biotin crap, you're just putting in something and peeing out nothing. That's it. That's it. And that drives me crazy because I can admit I was on the other side of that road. I lived that. Now that I'm on this side, I'm like, listen, guys, I'm not trying to get you to spend more money. I'm not trying to have anything nefarious here. I'm just trying to teach you from experience. What you just said there makes all the difference in the world, and biotin's a perfect example.
You know what I do when I'm shopping for stuff like that now? And because I've learned that lesson too many times, and this is going to freak some of you guys out. And listen, I'm not being hoity-toity here. I'm going to explain myself. Whenever I go looking for literally anything now, it could be a docking station for my MacBook onto a screen. It could be a guitar. It could be car parts, whatever it is. Whenever you look up something, whatever website it is, my default now is to sort high price to low price, not low price to high price. And what I'm trying to do there is be like, all right, who's the most expensive in this category? And then I keep scrolling until it gets to a price point that I think I'm willing to pay for, as opposed to starting at the bottom and working my way up until something I'm not willing to pay for. Because if you do that, those two numbers are not the same. Your value equation in your brain and your sense of value of something, I think, get tarnished when you look at some of the awful, cheap knockoff crap. And as you go up in price, it starts feeling expensive. When you start at the top, you get an intrinsic sense of what a quality product does cost in that category. And it then changes the value equation in your head to where you start going down to something that then works for your budget or what you're looking to spend. And I think that literally universally applies to everything. And it helps you make, I think, if you're going to do something right, do it right. And you want to do something to the best of your ability, like you said, right? And I think that's kind of forces your brain to do it. And in my mind, if you start getting into the prices where you're like, okay, these are clearly all kind of crappy because they drop in price by 50%, and you can't make the jump to where you know the quality level is, that means you need to wait. That means you need to hold off on whatever you're looking at, and you need to wait so that you don't cut your nose to spite your face kind of a thing. It's like you don't want to lowball yourself and end up with something that you don't want. And if you have to wait, it's worth it.
That's so true. And I bet you it's bottom heavy when you sort it by price, meaning you're going to go through a whole lot more of the cheap stuff before you even get a resemblance of what the fair price is, because so many companies are at a race to the bottom.
They are. They're in a race to the bottom, and you know what? You shouldn't be, right? It's one of those things where when something has a price that's justified because of quality, again, right? Just like Leo said, I'm too poor to buy cheap stuff. Like, it's literally couldn't be more true, man.
Oh man. Yeah. Just think so many companies, and I'm not even being like figurative here. A little bit, but so many companies are at a race to the bottom for an Amazon page because they know the habit of so many consumers do that sorting. And I'll be honest, I've never thought about your method, and that makes a whole heck of a lot of sense to me.
Oh yeah. Like, you'd be surprised on how many things I held off on because I was like, oh, I can get one of those for $100. And then I start looking and I'm like, oh, the real ones are like $1,000. And then I go down and I'm like, well, there's some for $8. Well, I was really only looking to spend like 1 or 2. I'm like, yeah, I guess I need to hold off on this a little bit so I don't hate myself later for saving $100 and spending 2 when I really should have been spending 6. So I only had to do it once.
100%. And think about how many companies worry about people giving backlash about prices. And the great companies understand those people that are giving you backlash about prices might not be the customer base you need.
Yeah. And it's not the customer base that you want.
Right.
Like, you don't want that. You don't want to try to sucker someone in, and get them to, either way, buy something that they don't need or buy something that they don't like.
And a shout out, and I've told you this before, you and Nate would be very, very good friends. I've literally said that to Nick in the last couple of weeks. Good buddy of mine.
Agree.
We've had this exact conversation in private before. His brand is not cheap. It's not inexpensive. And I do like that Leo said that cheap and inexpensive are not synonyms. I agree. His is a higher price point. It is a higher, the bottling, everything, a lot of similarities with Dr. Nick's. And
Love his new packaging.
yeah, he fully understands that that's okay. There's going to be people that say we're too expensive. That's okay. There's going to be people that are only searching for budget and only searching for, and you'll notice with both of your companies too, it's not Kohl's. And what do I mean by that? There's not always a 50% discount. There's not always a crazy sale all the time, because if you do that too often, you're attracting a certain customer base. And if you have people that are just simply chasing the bottom, just chasing budget, they also bring extra problems as well. It's not free to have budget customers like that. And you guys could talk about that a lot.
And I mean, Nate, 100% agree, man. It's we definitely got to meet up, dude. And mad respect for you too. I mean, you guys do exactly a lot of the stuff that we stand for. And I think we have obviously, right, we have different drives and different kind of core, I think, values for just like what is in the products, right? You address a different audience than we do, that in a way, right? You almost like there's a Venn diagram. And what's really cool is that I think the middle point of our diagram is a whole lot bigger than either side of it is, which is really cool, because I think we serve a lot of the same people for a lot of the same reasons. And where there needs to be a departure, I think both of us serve those people with different desires very well. I mean, it's just one of those cool things where you see like a lot of synergy, but then of course a very unique approach to the market, which I think is just awesome.
And a couple of other similarities. He has a big orange beard as well, which is awesome. And then he left his full-time career. Great job. Do you know where he worked before? He was a pretty great ranking guy at Apple.
Oh, cool. So, awesome.
There you go.
We need to meet up for a lot of reasons, man.
Right. That's definitely meant to be. Ken, who said he sent you a picture. You mentioned this picture to me from Instagram. He had a cheap shirt and he was running and his nipple was bleeding from this cheap shirt, and threw on some Dr. Nick's butter onto the bleeding nipple.
Yes. And I love that. I actually tell the bloody nipple story often.
Yeah, you have to. So again, guys, we're on topic here, but the little side tangent, that is so true. In biotin and beard products and anything beard growth related, you have to understand what you're talking about, right? We can say like have a great diet, but it's like when someone's like, I am eating great, and it's like, but are you? Like, are you telling yourself that, And so, yeah, there's definitely a lot to it. And Ken says, how much diet has a knock-on effect through every aspect is really easy to forget about and neglect.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. On your mood, on your energy, on your health, on your like ability to recover from injuries. It's maybe the biggest piece of the pie for everything we do.
Yeah, because everyone forgets, right? That like, food doesn't just make you not hungry anymore, right? It's fuel. It's your body doesn't have the precursors that it needs to create really important blockchains and hormones and secretions in your brain that are super duper important. Like, let's not forget that, like, serotonin, for example, along with growth hormone and everything else in your brain, all comes out of your pituitary gland while you're sleeping in pulses. And it can either be a dry heave, right? Or it can be a faucet. And your body only keeps it on as long as it has precursors to build those compounds from. And it gets those from food unless you supplement them another way. So if you're not taking supplements and you're not doing anything else to modify your physiology from a hormone standpoint, right? The only way you're going to be able to get those precursors is through food. And so it's like, you're so right, Ken, that like it literally affects your mood, your motivation, your drive, then not to mention, right? Skin, hair, elasticity of skin. I mean, everything. It's just, that's it.
And I love Ken. I had a chance to meet him too. And he said, other than that, though, I look jacked in the
dude, wicked swole, dude.
Wicked swole. And then JB says, can't stand bloody nips. If you were like in here like, dude, I love bloody nips, I'd be concerned.
There's a time and a place. Listen,
Hey, you gotta get off Reddit, man. Jesus Christ, man. Oh my goodness gracious. Wow. Okay. And to kind of piggyback here and not because you guys are having great questions and discussion, especially on supplements and everything. I know absolutely nothing about this. Nick, I have a feeling you may, but I'm not sure. Phil says, should you get exercise and proper dieting down before a nicotine supplement? I don't know anything about nicotine supplements.
So, okay, if you're talking about like, should you get like good exercise and eat well before you worry about how you're going to ingest nicotine? I mean, yeah. I'm not sure about nicotine supplements like for workout. You know, I don't know that. I mean, I was definitely guilty of being one of those people that would pound some espresso and have a couple of nicotine pouches in me before I go down to the gym. I noticed a difference in a bad way.
He meant biotin.
Perfect. Good. So I was going to say,
like, I don't know anything about this
stuff from doing the nicotine pouches.
Golly, that took a turn.
Biotin.
That is,
yes, absolutely. You should worry about diet and exercise before you worry about a biotin supplement. That escalated quickly. Hey, listen, I wear everything on my sleeve. You know, it's
right.
Hey, you throw it out there. I'm gonna be like, well, I don't know. I used to do that. Didn't work out so great.
Yeah, right. You throw out bloody nips. Nick is gonna take on the topic, and Ken, you're gonna
Typos
have to
or not.
You're gonna have to change this to 3. He said, I have laughed out loud twice, and I'm in the middle of an open space in an office, and that was before the biotin nicotine.
That's fantastic.
Oh my gosh, Phil, what are you talking about?
Ever, John? Yeah, Nate.
Right. You talk about nicotine so much, your phone was like, no, you cannot be talking about beard stuff. It must be nicotine.
There's no way you're talking about supplements. You're talking about nicotine.
Oh my gosh, that is hilarious. And then
love it.
Final kind of supplement talk for me. I've been talking about it on my streams and my Instagram a lot.
I thought he was like, sorry. I thought he was asking like, should you be good at diet and exercise before you figure out how to quit smoking? And I'm like, oh, that's a good question. Maybe you should learn how to quit smoking before you get good at diet and exercise because it'll help.
I thought he was like, should you? Because there is a theory that nicotine itself has. True story. You guys can actually look it up. There's a theory that nicotine has a health impact, but also a hair growth impact. Not cigarettes, not all the stuff that comes with it, but actual nicotine. I've looked into it vastly. There's no conclusive evidence either way, so I've never made a video on it.
They have nicotine shampoo.
Yeah.
There's shampoo with nicotine in
like
it because there's people that have gone down that path of being like,
yes.
Oh, well, I wonder if it's good for you.
And so I thought he was going there. Like, do I need to get this in order first before I start supplementing nicotine for beard growth? And I'm like, I feel like Nick would know this. So I kicked it to him. That is hilarious. But what I am now over a week in taking, and I said this on my stream, I am not. You guys know me well by now. I am not the person that's like, I try something, it's the greatest, it changed my life. Ooh, new best scent ever. Ooh, this is the greatest thing of all time. Oh my gosh, I take this, I have energy, I do it. I'm not that guy. I'm the opposite. I hold on to stuff for too long. We have been taking beef liver supplements for the last week plus now. And I'm now almost up to the full dosage. I've been working my way up to 6 capsules a day. For the first time ever with something, I'm not 100% sure because I'm not the most like in tune with this stuff, but I think it's the first thing that I've really noticed an impact on my life. Now, biotin, I did notice an impact on my beard growth. That was measurable. That was for sure. The beef liver supplements that we're taking, it's given me a little bit of a zip. It's given me a little bit of like a little bit more energy, a little bit more mental clarity. And could it be placebo? Absolutely could be. But I know it's great for you. It's amazing for beard growth, right? What is the most biotin-rich thing on this planet other than straight up B7? It's beef liver, number 1. And
really?
So that's something that can really, really, really help. And it's grass fed. There's no hormones. There's no steroids. It's pure of the pure. And
Is it
I
like the
am so
mixed one
far.
that's like liver, heart, kidney, and all that stuff too, or is it just beef liver?
So I started just beef liver. That's the next one. The same company has all of that into one, and that's where I'll be going next. I want to tackle this one first, and I'm very, very happy. Spectra.
Have you said what company you're using?
So yes, I'll tell you. But Spectra, Nick recommended Thorn. I've used those for other supplements as well. Really good quality company after lots of research. So Thorn,
Huge, really nice.
So we are using Primal Origins for the liver supplements.
Okay.
Now, does
I
that
was
strike?
looking at, after you mentioned it last week, I was looking at like Ancestral and a couple other brands that do it. I was checking them all out.
Oh, I thought it was it. So essentially it's take it for what's worth, but then look into it yourself. It is the Liver King supplements.
Yeah, so I was looking at it's the one that's produced in New Zealand and Australia.
I think so. Yes.
Yeah. I was checking them. I was checking that place out after you mentioned it.
Yeah, we absolutely love it, and it's been awesome, and I know it's good for you. So yeah, I'm taking them in the afternoon with food all together. And so, yep, I've been
that's pretty cool.
I've been very, very, very happy with it. And that's funny you mentioned the heart and all that other stuff. That's going to be the next one I'm going to use. And it just makes sense. How many people struggle to get protein? How many people struggle to get stuff like liver? Like people in here saying, I eat beef liver twice a week. You guys are amazing. We have started to supplement it into our ground beef. So it'll be like a ground beef and liver mix where you don't really tell. But I'm not just going to eat a straight up liver. That's just not me. But we work it into different areas. And so that's been something that I haven't noticed yet with beard growth. It's too small of a sample size, but I'm very optimistic about the chances of that making differences.
You know, yeah, it's actually pretty cool. I've been doing a lot of reading on just it as a whole as a supplement.
Okay.
After you mentioned doing it, and it's like they have the single ones like beef liver, you have like the beef thyroid, like all kinds of stuff. And then you have like the mixture one. That's like heart, liver, pancreas, all that kind of all that stuff. So it's like there's some, I don't know, that's a lot to look at. It's pretty cool.
Right. And if you think about nature, right, what happens when animals attack other animals? Liver is the first thing they eat.
That's
always.
Literally what they go after.
Oh, I think you cut out audio, Nick, unless it's just on my end. Let me see here. Nope. Okay. And
Nope.
Oh, you're good.
Cool.
You're back there. So yeah, it's that's been exciting to me, and I really think that could have an impact on it. Yeah, Dan, have a butcher grind it into beef sausage links. That sounds good. I could do that. Absolutely, cool. Could do that.
Now I wonder what happens with somebody that has like Jill, who got the crazy rare Lone Star tick bite.
Yeah.
What happens if someone's allergic to like eating beef? I wonder if like the processed supplement from beef organs would work, would still be okay for someone like that, or if it would cause problems.
It's a good question.
Jill, let's try it.
Right. When you have 2 days of nothing ahead.
I volunteered Jill as tribute.
Yes. Now does Jill, I know what that Lone Star tick, that it can affect hair majorly. Has it affected her hair at all?
Well, interestingly enough, around the same time that she started noticing that she couldn't eat beef was around the same time, actually, now that I think about it, that she started to complain that her like hair wasn't growing as long. It wasn't like it would grow back quickly from a haircut, but it would only get to a certain point and it just wouldn't grow longer. It's not like it's like any issues for like thinning or any problems there. I think it's like it does affect the overall length maybe that your hair is able to grow to, though.
And that's super interesting and kind of on topic with Phil here. He says, is it possible to just have a point where you've grown as much as you possibly can or can you still push the limits of your body? So Phil, there absolutely is a terminal length when it comes to hair. Yep. Most of us will likely never hit it, but different things can pull levers and move the needle for you, such as that situation. I bet you that is affecting her terminal length of her hair growth.
I bet you it is.
Yes, Phil, we all have a genetic cap. We don't know what it is. Most of
I'm
us will
looking
never
for
hit it.
mine.
Yep, but we all have it. And so, yes, there is too much. That's something to consider, and
It is.
super interesting.
It is. And
Interesting.
there's a couple other like weird things I think that involve beard growth, right?
Yeah.
Besides just like the aside from a nutrition standpoint, obviously there's lots of superficial and external things that greatly impact, I think, your beard growth. Exactly like Jacked Up Leatherworks is here saying, is that obviously there's things you can apply to your beard that help growth, right? But let's talk about the things that I've noticed that can almost stall your growth. And then how I've kind of found a way to move through it and past it, kind of reset. One of the things that I've noticed is, you guys might notice that today I have full bushy beard, right? I didn't heat treat my beard today. I didn't do the Aberlite. And the reason I started noticing this is kind of funny, and maybe Dan has too, is that when you're going through your normal routine, things always seem right on course, right? Because it's what you expect. And so whenever I go camping or I go on a trip where I don't have my Aberlite or something, I still do the rest of my normal routine, right? Even if I don't have electricity or I don't have the ability to bring my heat brush with me, obviously I still bring beard, oil with me. I still bring beard butter, still bring my beard wash and conditioner. All that stuff stays the same. But whenever I get back from camping, obviously I'm like all bushy all over the place. It's crazy. And then the next day, I notice that my beard, once I do apply some heat to it, it actually is way better from a styling standpoint, and from just an overall kind of luster and healthy kind of appearance and feel. It's better. And so I started thinking, I'm like, wow, I wonder if the heat treatment actually does kind of just sort of keep you right at a certain state. Obviously, you'll still grow and your beard will still look great. But I do notice that when you take a break from the heat, it does sort of reset your beard in a way. Like it's able to kind of calm down and relax and just sort of be itself for a few days, right? Still keep doing your normal product treatments. But I think there is something to that. I think there's something to like whatever you're doing to sometimes just give it a break and go back to like the bare minimum basics. And I do think it kind of gives you a nice little reset period, and your beard definitely seems happier and healthier after it. So I definitely advocate the once a month, give yourself a couple of days where maybe you don't use a styling product, maybe you don't use heat treatment, you just do the natural nourishment that you need to between wash, conditioner, oil, and butter. I think there's something to it.
And I wonder where like personal genetics go in that, because mine's actually the opposite.
Because you have a hard time getting back to where you were after camping.
I can't, dude. If I take a couple of days off heat, let's say I need to style it the next day.
Right.
Mine does not style. Mine feels like garbage. It is
Really?
so much worse when I don't use heat. And I literally feel like I shed more and I don't grow as well when I don't use it. And we have very different beards and skin types. So there's got to be some genetic personal variables
There
involved.
definitely does. There has to be. But also, I think something to it, right? Yeah. Think about, you notice that you shed more after when you start getting back to it. Is that because that when you weren't heat treating it, you weren't pulling through the hair as much with a comb, and maybe the comb you're using isn't as fine toothed as your heat is, and maybe it starts loosening things up better and you know what I mean?
No, I use the
you
same.
just had a few days build up of shedding that you weren't getting because you weren't doing your normal routine.
No, trust me. I've gone through every variable thought you could freaking imagine. It's just worse. Like my beard is unhealthier when I don't use heat, like just straight up. Because I used to do break days. I used to do this. And then when I stopped, it's so much healthier. It looks so much better. It's so crazy,
man. You got to find what works for you.
And Nick, same thing. Nate is saying, hey, I kind of do the same thing with a red beard. I try to take off 2 days. And
there could be a red beard thing,
which is more like the gray, white, silver beards, which usually are less inclined to use heat because, And
Mm.
the red hair structure, which is interesting, is more similar to the white, which is missing
Right.
an outer layer of protection.
Mhm.
And I bet the heat impacts that differently than like mine. And I bet it's like a spectrum. If you're on the right side of this, I'm kind of in the middle. I bet like a really pigmented, like black hair,
beard.
really strong brown one. I bet it's even farther than me.
Right. I bet you're right.
Interesting.
That's actually a really good point because you got to figure the white, the red, the blonde, those all have a lot in common from like a cellular hair structure perspective.
Straight up, like straight up. And yeah, like blonde, you know, like, yeah. And there's a lot of like similarities overlapping there too. If you have a red beard, you're likely going to go straight white. You're not going to hit like a gray silver phase in between that like a lot of beards like mine or the black beards do. Usually red goes whoom, white immediately.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
that's
so
what I've heard. And I'm right there with Nate too on that one. Like I'm right at 320 on my Aberlite. That's what I have it set to all the time.
Yep. Super interesting there. And Nick, just real quick, how old's your beard?
11 years.
Yeah.
It wasn't, I haven't grown it long for 11 years. I stopped trimming in 2018.
Yeah. Yep.
So about 6 years of growth from, it was about this length until 2018.
Yep.
And then this is since 2018.
And last time shaving was the day around the time your son was born.
The day he was born.
There you go.
The very last time I shaved was when I almost missed him being delivered because I was in the bathroom shaving, and I made the joke, well, I guess I'm not going to do that anymore. It almost really messed me up. So here we are.
Changed your life. Hey, Tyson, he says, mad respect for Nick and what he's doing.
Dude, same here to you, bro.
Yep. Another person.
I love you guys. You know what I really love about this? I love the fact that Copper John's, Johnny Ray's is in here, and we literally do nothing but support each other, and talk nothing but good things about each other's brands. And it just shows that like we need to do a stream. I think, and this is a perfect example of the people in here. If we did Copper John's, Dr. Nick's, and we did Johnny Ray's, and we just did something where we did with you, where we did like a 4-tiled just live stream with all of us and them in their locations. I think that would be really cool. And I think it just would, and it would show, Tyson's the man. And it would literally show, like, I think it would set a good freaking example for other people out there who do nothing but trash on each other and just cause problems. And there is a community of beard companies that don't do that. And we all like what each other do because we know we're all doing something different. And we're coming at things from a different angle, and we like the ways that we're doing those different angles.
Yep. And I don't know if they're in here right now, but Jack's right. True North is always supporting and is always our people too. So
dude, absolutely. I think that'd be awesome. Do a quad live stream of beard companies.
Yeah. No, that's really, really, really cool. And there really is. And Nate's right. He says there's really more good ones than not too. The bad ones stick out. And that's true for anything, man. Dude, they're just loud.
Stick out like a sore thumb, don't they?
They get attention. But if you'll notice, which ones last? Yeah, let that sink in. Which ones last? Which ones grow? You know, so
which ones are still here to enjoy the audiences that we've created and built?
Man, so true. And so real quick here, guys, I can't freaking believe we're running out of time already. It's so frustrating, but and I got to talk to Nick about a couple times. But Jay Summers says, so is it genetic factor into the thickness of beards? Yes. Or can supplements help thickness? Yes. It is both of those things.
Yeah, you're fighting against your genetics, and we all are in every aspect of our lives. Our genetics were never programmed to do what we're doing. Both in work, in life, in family, in everything, right? We were not as demanding on our bodies in the past as we are now, right?
Yep.
And also, I think that back when our genetics were becoming our genetics, appearance and physical appearance definitely was not a thought in people's minds, right?
Facts.
No one cared about how they looked or smelled, right? You were surviving. And so like when we make ourselves not stink, that's fighting against our genetics. When you try to get yourself, if you're trying to get a 6-pack, that's likely, unless you're part of the 10% of humans that don't have to try for that, you're going to be fighting against your genetics to do it. So just like working out and getting a physical build that is what you see yourself as and what you want, everything else is the exact same. Is that you're fighting your genetic code to change it.
Yeah. And Mr. Summers, Justin, it is, he says, please let me in on the growth serum, Nick, if you don't mind. It's available on the website.
Oh
So-
yeah, absolutely. And it's, beardy oil is where it's at, man. I mean, that's the star of the show there. And, along with the peppermint and rosemary, obviously, but it's, I think, it's a 1-2 punch of beard growth, because from an essential oil standpoint, it's packed with things that are going to help you. And from a carrier oil perspective, it's vastly different than our normal carrier blend.
Yep.
And it's intentional, right? It's supposed to sit on the skin. It's not supposed to absorb quickly. It's supposed to coat your hair at the base of the follicle.
Yep.
And so I think, definitely, and just like Jack Dove says, if someone hasn't tried it, you need to definitely get it.
Yep.
If
And
you're trying to get a thicker beard.
Justin, daily at night is recommended and
Yeah.
best. You don't have to use it, but the chances of having an impact are better the more you use it. And it's
Right.
it's a sliding scale. Of course, you don't want to use it too much, but
Right.
once every night is perfect. Use it before bed. That
Yep.
can make a huge adjustment. And to have a quick side tangent, goodness, Dan, he said 115 in Cali. No. You keep that. You keep that over there.
Yeah. Bye.
No. Thank you on that one. And
Nope.
before we wrap it up, Nick, do you have, because I know we had some other stuff on there, do you have any other quick beard growth things that you wanted to hit on?
I think it's really down to reducing stress, like you said, mentally.
Yeah.
Reducing stress on your beard. And one thing I've noticed with a long beard, now that mine's gotten past the 2-foot mark, is that I don't just put my beard up in a knot for safety and physical reasons, right? When I'm around things that are mechanically and have moving parts, which a lot of you I know have the same situation. I do it now because there's some times where I want to when your beard's long, you get a lot of air movement through it and it
Yeah.
dries it out a lot. And if it's a really humid day, oddly enough, humidity draws moisture out of your beard, as we've all noticed, right? And I actually don't know the science behind that. I can think of a few reasons why I think that happens, because it's water tends to be drawn towards water, and that's
sweating.
where it goes. Sweat, everything else.
Yep.
Salt from your sweat, that kind of thing dries you out.
Exactly.
So literally, I'll put it up in a knot when I know I'm going to be in a really dry environment, or if I know I'm going to be in a really hot, humid environment. I'll tie it up, I'll put it up, and I'll keep beard butter in it while it's in the knot.
You're something. Let me go to this again here. See if you can figure out what this might be for. I don't know, in a week or so.
Oh,
is it
talking
a
about
video?
the reasons why maybe you want to put your beard in a knot sometimes?
Oh, and maybe talk about adding butter before you put it in a knot sometimes.
Oh, maybe. I figure, hey, that's a great way to lock it in, right?
Hey guys, we didn't discuss that either. He had no idea I filmed that.
No, I have no. You've already filmed it?
Oh, it's done. That's the thumbnail from the video. It's done.
That's fantastic.
I already filmed it.
Oh man!
Wow.
All right.
We gotta stop.
Weird.
This is
Get
weird.
outta
Yeah.
here.
Here we go. Time to wrap it up.
Wrap it up, Nick.
Oh
You
man.
playing the
Hey.
wrap it up music for me over there, too?
Yeah. Right. Hey,
Hold
Jamie,
up,
cue the wrap it up. Yes.
Holding up the wrap it up sign.
Jill's knocking out there. Come on. All right, guys. We will be here next week. Nick might be mobile, might be in studio. He'll be here somehow, some way.
I don't know.
Yeah, either way, we're going to party. Either way, we're going to have a great time.
gonna be great.
Sincerely, thank you guys for showing the best of people. Thank you guys for showing the search for knowledge and being inquisitive and being supportive. This is what it's about. We might not be loud. We might not be demanding attention, but we know that this is the way. This is what is helpful. This is what's beneficial. Just keep that in mind. Just like the food and water you consume, the content you consume is absolutely impacting your life. Choose wisely. And I'll kick it to Nick.
Oh man, this has been fantastic. I have no idea how it's been an hour and 4 minutes, but
I'm a little bit mad.
couple wrap it ups here. I know one thing that's going to happen is that Dan's going to kick off an email between myself, Nate, Tyson, Chris. We're at least going to socialize that idea. I think it could be a lot of fun. So let's at least get that conversation going.
Yep.
And no, this has been fantastic. It's been, listen, I've been going through, you know, dealing with insurance companies and dealing with taxes and everything else since we last spoke last week. So this was a great break from the administrative hell that I've been in for the past 14 days. So thank you guys for that. And, yeah, poll if this should be a 2-hour stream. 2-hour stream. 2-hour stream.
2-hour stream. 2-hour stream.
Listen, okay, slow your roll there. You know, we might have to adjust the time slot if we extended the duration. You know what I mean?
Right.
We'll table that one. But guys, thank you so much. I have no idea where I'm going to be for the stream next week on the 23rd. I'm either going to be in Tennessee, on the road, here in the studio, and haven't left yet. Who knows? It's going to be a really fun surprise for me and for you. And we'll figure out the answer to that surprise at 1 o'clock, the 23rd, next Tuesday. And until then, just stay, you know, I'm not even going to say just stay amazing. Stay like really freaking amazing, just like you guys are right now. Don't change a thing. And we'll see you next week.